Welcome back to The Voice in the Wilderness. Today, I'm looking at a conversation that sits at the intersection of diaspora politics, national identity, and a somewhat uncomfortable question, which is, do we as Black South Africans view our African American brothers and sisters through a lens of equality or a romantic deference? Let's start with a fundamental paradox. African Americans are a people who were historically and violently severed from the continent. Their ancestors were stolen, if one can put it bluntly. Their return in any form should be a moment of profound historical reckoning, a closing of a brutal cycle. We see this principle in action elsewhere. There's the right of return in Israel. Every Jew has the right to return to Israel. It is a powerful example, indeed. Yet for many African Americans seeking to build a life in South Africa, the official path is often fraught with more bureaucracy, more hurdles, more suspicion, and more barriers than for many other immigrant groups. Why? Allow me to be cynical. One could point to the cold calculus of a compromised state, the ANC government. The argument goes like this. The current establishment may not see African Americans as a natural constituency. I don't think they see them as people who complement their agenda of destroying South Africa. They are generally not a drain on social services. You rarely find them arrested in a cash-in-transit heist, large-scale drug trafficking, or clogging the asylum system, so to say. They come with skills, capital, and the respect of the law of the land. That, ironically, might not align with the interests of a patronage network that thrives on the vulnerability and chaos. And it's important to note that of recent, the momentum of African Americans coming to South Africa and the African continent at large continues to build, continues to grow. And as South Africa, we've got a fair share of the cake of African Americans who are coming back to the motherland, as they like to call it. In my cynical view now, back to the compromised state, the ideal immigrant for the ANC corrupt system is not the one who builds a legitimate business, but the one who can be exploited, recruited into the shadows of the underworld of this mafia state. But I want to move from failings of the state to attitudes of the people. Because on the ground, in the public sphere, a very different and troubling dynamic plays out, I venture to say. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. I follow several vlogs of African Americans, experts in South Africa. Actually, I'm almost addicted. And you can't blame me. People who have left this continent a long time ago, their ancestors left a long time ago, they've been brainwashed, they've been given a certain view of the continent. One is always curious to say what's going to be their reaction when they see the real homeland, motherland, that their ancestors left a long time ago. Now, I observe consistently a pattern from Black South African commentators, an overwhelming, often uncritical effusion of praise and approval. Love for our diaspora family is beautiful and necessary, I must say. Actually, I'm a strong proponent of. I simply don't understand why it should be difficult for African Americans to come back to the continent and South Africa in particular. I believe they were supposed to be given a very soft landing. These are descendants of the continent. They are sons and daughters of the soil. But This frequently crosses, and I mean the LAFOA diaspora family, it crosses into a territory where discernment evaporates, where bad behavior is not just tolerated, but sometimes actively defended. And I still maintain that by a wide margin, African Americans are our best immigrants, some of our best immigrants into the country, for the reasons that I've stated initially. Here are my receipts, anecdotal. Let me give you a precise example of what I mean, that sometimes because of this difference, because of this admiration, we get to a space where we are not even able to discern what is good behavior and what is not good behavior from some of African Americans, because obviously, like any other society, there are people who sometimes might indulge in a behavior that might be regarded as unacceptable, especially for people who are coming into a country, a country that is not originally of their birth. Here is my example. An AA expert couple was vlogging about choosing between homeschooling and private schooling. A viewer left a comment. Forceful, perhaps, because South Africans can be very forceful without even giving you space to decide what you want, and they just prescribe, especially if you are coming from outside, without giving you that agency to make your own decision. This individual was advocating for a private school and giving their own justification. The couple's response was not a rebuttal, it was a rage filled, lengthy tantrum. And remember, this is just 0.0 something of the audience that was kind of misbehaving in that way through their comment. They spent maybe 2/3 of their time on that vlog just berating this single individual. It was an overkill, I must say. It was a stunning display of thin-skinned arrogance, the kind of unprofessionalism that you would fear to indulge in a foreign land. Personally, I wouldn't go to that length. And here was the revealing twist. I mean, when I'm in a foreign country, of course. Here was a strange twist. The black South African audience response to that tantrum and rage-filled rant, instead of acknowledging the couple's embarrassing lack of emotional intelligence, the comment section became a chorus of people pleading with the couple, attacking the already bruised commentator, and offering endless reassurances. It was deference on steroids. This is not strategic patience or Ubuntu. This smells distinctly of an inferiority complex, I venture to say, and I'll tell you why. I strongly believe that that was the case. Our view, most of us as black South Africans growing up, we have had this romanticized view of African Americans. Our image has been shaped by, not by nuanced history, but by Hollywood, by music videos, by distant glamour. As Mark Blanton, one of my favorite African American, when we talk about model immigrants, is one of them. They are here to build. They are not here to criticize. They are here to build the kind of South Africa they would like to see. Unlike some will come and it's like they want a ready-made South Africa or Africa. It is important to come and join hands. Come and build the country that you would like to stay in. If you call this home, you don't go home and criticize why there isn't bread. You buy bread for your home. If truly you belong, you are a son or a daughter of the soil. Who do you want to build it? Join hands with locals and build the kind of Africa that will be friendly to dark-skinned people like myself and yourself. We have had this romanticized view of African Americans to an extent that when confronted with those kind of stereotypical comments, Mark Blanton, this prominent AA business owner in South Africa's tourism sector, wisely reminds us that we do not live inside a box of television. I find that comment very apt. It's an apt description of our view of African Americans. Yet too often we act as if they do live in that television box. We must be clear, African Americans have been and continue to be some of the best immigrants this country could ask for. They bring talent, investment, and a deep, respectful engagement with our nation. We owe a historical debt to their ancestors' suffering and a current debt to their positive contributions. But true respect is not built on fantasy or fear. It is built on seeing each other as full, complete, and flawed human beings. True kinship means we welcome them as equals, capable of excellence, and equals capable of error. It means we can love them, learn from them, partner with them, and when necessary, correct them. We can go into the bad breath area. Hopefully, to do anything less is not admiration. It is to place them on a pedestal built from our own insecurities. And a pedestal is, by definition, a very lonely and unequal place to be. We are not inferior. They are not mythic. We are family. And family tells the truth, even if sometimes it might hurt. It was ironic for me to observe this couple of AA Americans because they, during a certain, I think it was during a certain segment of that vlog, they were talking about, I think they had a bad experience with service at some outlet or establishment. And they were talking about how unprofessional the staff was. And they were going on explaining how they would like to extol the virtues of professionalism in their yet to be launched business in South Africa, which is great. But the irony was that upon encountering that comment from that member of their audience, they launched into one of the most unprofessional response to a mistake. And make no mistake, the comment was not well placed, but the fact of the matter is that if you want to play into the public space, if you don't want to get banned, if you can't handle don't go into the kitchen. It comes with the territory. You only needed maturity and emotional intelligence to gently but firmly assert your agency to say that this is a decision that you will have to allow us to make because it's personal. And move on because it was only 0.0 something percentage of your audience who were insisting on you taking your children to the private school. So this couple responded to a genuine mistake, which was uncalled for, but with a worse mistake. A response to a mistake can be a worse mistake on its own. It was interesting for me because these were people who were extolling the virtues of professionalism, yet launched into a tirade which was very unprofessional. Now, South Africans, especially those who want to claim that they belong from a superior tribe, which is nonsense. Just all the same, I've traveled everywhere in South Africa. We are the same, largely speaking. If there is littering problem in that province, there's a littering problem in our black communities. It's artificial. The difference is artificial. So how do you then justify the inferiority complex towards African Americans? So let me know what you think. This is Rendani. This is the voice in the wilderness. I would like to hear what you think about this subject. And African Americans, you are welcome. You'll always be welcome. Join hands with us. What you don't like, partner with us. You know, you've seen how the game is played. You've seen how America made it. Come and bring that expertise. And I hope our politicians will desist from this thing of feeling threatened somehow. If you ask me, these are people who come legally. Why should they be a threat, a national security threat? Because the ones that are vloggers, for example, they explain. They don't hide the fact that I'm from the Secret Service. I was a member of the army. I don't think people who are on a destruction path will come and be so transparent. But in any case, if they are coming legally, why should they be a threat to anyone? I think we've got a government that refrains from dealing with the real threats, like open borders, allowing, without even setting a budget as to how many people you expect to be in the country, opening the public school, all those kind of things, without a target. I'm not saying you shouldn't take a certain number, accommodate foreigners. Yes, they do have certain level of rights, but you need to prioritize, because other countries on the continent are prioritizing their citizens. Where must South African children go? We have a compromised government that has got wrong priorities. African Americans are some of the best immigrants that we have. They are not a threat, and you must make it easy for them to come into the country. They are not a threat. We have got much bigger threats. Tavern shootings, those who come illegally and are shooting in the taverns, zamazamas, those are the friends. Those are the people whom our politicians champion. It tells you what kind of people are leading the country. This is the Voice in the Wilderness. Please let me know what you think.